What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we're going over the dev workshop about Jade Shadow's big enemy HP, resistance, and armor changes. There's quite a bit to go over, but after we read through it last night on the live stream, I actually kind of realized it's a lot more simple than you'd think, even though there's like a ton of stuff to read here. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk about my opinions and basically how this will change the meta if DE actually does go through with these changes, because they are pretty extreme changes, honestly. So let's get right into it. Before we do, though, make sure you're sub to this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. Also check out the live stream channel. I'll be live tonight with some Warframe, getting the last 1,000 traces for Protea Prime Access coming out on Wednesday. And yeah, we'll be farming Protea Prime live on stream on Wednesday as well, so you want to come stop by. I'll have tons and tons of relics to open, probably. Alright, so let's get right into it. And just to put it in perspective, I will be putting some level 10,000 Void Cascade Fissure gameplay on the screen. So this is the current patch of the game, obviously. And yeah, these guys, with the right builds, can die in literally one hit. And with these changes coming through in Jade Shadows, I'm hoping that these guys will be a lot more tanky at this level and won't be just dying in one hit to, like, technically some of the best builds in the game, but still, yeah, let's go over what's happening here, because there's a lot to go over. Alright, so let's get the dev workshop up. And as far as, what's going on here, we have multiple things to talk about. So the first one here is going to be how it currently works in-game. So we have this table right here. This is how Warframe's working right now. There are 13 different health and armor types. And for that matter, there's like different factions too. So Grenier has like all this stuff. Corpus has all these different things. Infested has all these ones like Fossilized, like, right? Sentients have all this stuff, and Murmur have these different types of health as well. We also have all these status types. Now just to put it in perspective, none of this stuff is changing. So they even need to put this table on here. But this is the thing that's changing right here. All of this stuff is getting massively dumbed down, with lack of a better term to call it. This is just getting all dumbed down. All of this table is turning into this. We're going from, ferrite armor, corrosive armor, etc., to health, armor, and shields. That's what's happening in Jade Shadows according to this. So that means that the differing types of armor, so like ferrite armor, alloy armor, that's getting consolidated into one. And these different resistances will be per faction. So that means Grenier armor is going to be only weak to one thing. They haven't decided what they're going to be weak to yet, but it's probably going to be corrosive. And Grenier clone flesh, all weak to one thing. Corpus shields. There will no longer be different types of shields for Corpus. There will only be one type of shields for Corpus. For Infested, they're all going to be exactly the same, unless they have armor for some reason. So yeah, every Infested will be weak to the same thing. It won't be like, oh, Ancients are weak to corrosive, the smaller Infested are weak to gas or whatever. Nope, changing that. And for Sentients, it probably will be the same thing as well. So, already right off the bat, I have a small issue with this, and that's going to be the fact that they're normalizing Corpus HP. If you didn't know this, there are robotic Corpus, like the MOAs and like the Ospreys, and there's like cloned humans, the Corpus, troopers. Those are going to have the same exact resistances, which makes not a ton of sense to me. Now, maybe it's a lore thing, but as far as I'm concerned, why are the robots and the humans having the same damage resistances, right? Like, if you were to use, like, an EMP in real life, it wouldn't do as much damage to a human as it would to a robot, would it? And vice versa. If it was, like, a biological weapon, would it do as much damage to a robot as it would do to a human? Probably not. So that, to me, is already a little bit weird, because in the game right now, robotic enemies and, clone flesh are different damage resistances. So that might be a step too far for me, at least, as far as dumbing down the damage system to make it... They're trying to make it more accessible. That's what this is doing. But yeah, that right there is a little bit of immersion breaking just to start off with. But going past that, I don't think the whole, removing multiple types of armor is that big of a deal, personally. Because to be realistic with you, I don't really think most players care, including myself, about, robotic or corrosive radiation weaknesses on differing armor. Because to be honest, the big difference is it's just what they're weak to. We're still going to do armor. We were still doing armor strip on these guys in the first place. So the example I'm trying to give here is like Bombard armor. This guy's armor is going to be weak to radiation. But no one was mined for radiation to kill these guys. And conversely, we have the Corrupted Heavy Gunner, or whatever Heavy Gunner. They are weak, their armor is weak to corrosive. So mostly we just always mod for corrosive, because corrosive is good against armor in general, and it also has the armor removal effect, making it good against those bombards that had radiation weak armor. So yeah, nobody was really modding for radiation for bombards, because corrosive was just so much more useful, and the radiation status effect didn't really do much to armor in the first place. It just made the enemies attack each other, which was, you know, it's good, but it's not really making the enemy easier to kill. It's just making the enemy distracted by other enemies nearby them. So I think that removing that armor thing, it is definitely making the game more simplified, but who was actually modding for radiation in the first place? So yeah, they are going to be lumping the shields, armor, and health together, so the different resistances and weaknesses will be per faction, and also per planet, it seems like, too. There will be certain plants, like any Kuva Grenier, will have different types of resistances compared to a normal Grenier, according to Pablo's words. Additionally, Deimos Infested and Amalgam Corpus will have different resistances and health types as well. Or not health types, but different resistances and weaknesses as well. So they're going to be trying to make this easier for people to understand because this pushes people away, apparently. So just keep in mind that is going to be part of the situation. So all your statuses will be the same. You're going to still have corrosive heat, viral, etc., etc. But here's some other big changes coming alongside this. And now, guys, this is early information. This update is meant for June, okay? So they're working on it right now. There's a reason they didn't give us all the details and all the information. They are working on this right now. So to compensate, for like actually not to compensate. They're going to make armor stripping even less incentivized too. I don't know why I was trying to say compensate there. Armor is the king, most applicably to Grenier. Grenier EHP is the amount of actual health points enemy has because of their DR. For example, this heavy gunner, they don't have that many health points, but they have a lot of armor, making it where they have 97% in DR. So that 44,000 HP goes a lot further because they have all that armor backing it up. And additionally, if you armor strip the Grenier, it's chopping off like 10% of its HP because 10% of its DR because it has so much armor in the first place. So what Pablo's going to do, and reminder, these are subject to change. They are going to cap enemy armor. And that just sounds like it's everywhere. On the steel path, level 10,000, level 50 enemies, we're all going to have a capped out armor value of 2,700 armor. And if you look at the screen, this level 200 Grenier has like 5 times or 4 times that already, just at level 200. So to put it in perspective, a 2,700 armor cap would make an enemy that is capped out of this would have the same armor value as a current patch normal path heavy gunner level 54. So yes, that means a level 10,000 Thrax would have the same armor as a level 54 heavy gunner on the current patch. So yeah, and if you were to put on a green Tau Shard for 13 corrosive procs, you would make that level 10,000 Thrax go from 2,700 armor to 54 armor, and then that DR is like 10% DR, if that. So how are they going to... Okay, now here's the part I was trying to say compensate. How are they going to compensate this change? Which, by the way, I'm still conflicted on if I like it or not, because the way I look at it is that I think that level 10,000 enemies are too easy to kill if you're using the good builds, and what they're going to... The thing is, too, players like us that do high-level missions already use armor strips. So the armor value doesn't really matter. It just pretty much means that we're going to be having an easier time armor stripping them. But the thing that I'm worried about, and what they're going to be doing to compensate this, is they're going to be increasing health scaling of Grenier enemies to realign. So they're going to be buffing the overall HP bar of that Grenier. So this heavy gunner would probably... They didn't say what number it would be. So like that's a big part. So we don't know what they're multiplying it to. Are they going to double the HP? Are they going to triple the HP? We don't know. So that being said, will enemies like in Void Cascade have their multiplied health and armor too? Or rather, multiplied health, because the armor is getting reduced massively. Like I said, 2,700 armor is a level 54 heavy gunner. That is... And to be honest, too, for the steel path, like, the base... With these changes, the base steel path will be massively easier. If you guys think they're bullet sponges right now, they're about to be so easy. Like, you can kill them with a Blast Ignis Wraith, honestly. So that is something that is, like, potentially reducing any, prestigious feeling of you, like, oh, I finally figured out how to mod in Warframe. I can now kill these steel path Greniers. Nope. Now it's going to be, you are now able to kill level 54 heavy gunner. Congratulations, you made it to the steel path. The level 54 heavy gunner path, basically. So I think that this might be a little bit too far. I know it's not a final number, but like they are really reducing the overall, like feeling of learning how, like when you find a really tanky enemy, it can feel like a roadblock. Like, okay, this guy is so tanky, like I need to change my build clearly. What do I do for the steel path, etc., etc. Learning how to play is something that they seem like they don't really want players to have to feel obligated to do, because this is going to make it where you don't have to learn how to play, because enemies will be so easy to kill. And like if you use good Incarnons in the first place, like you're not even using armor strip. These guys just instantly die. So I don't know what these changes are meant for. Are they meant for like entry level steel path? It kind of feels like they are, but I think they're making entry level steel path too easy with these changes. Personally, I think it's just too low of armor. 2,700 armor is too low. But also, like, they're trying to incentivize non-full armor strip. That's why I said green Tau shards might become the new meta, because two green normal shards is the current meta. They're also going to be changing the armor scaling curve so it'll be a lot less spread out. So a normal steel path heavy gunner will not be like this anymore. It won't be 97% DR. It'll be like 90% DR. And once you armor strip it some more, it will go down to like 5% DR or whatever. They're trying to make it where it's less front heavy, so or rather bottom heavy, so you can actually have partial armor strip still be useful. So it remains to be seen on this. The big thing here is depends how much they multiply these enemies' HP, because this is going to be a indirect nerf to slash damage, because slash damage is true damage on their health. If they have buffed enemy health, then the slash damage might not be enough to one-shot them. And spoiler, it will be enough to one-shot them. They would have to literally triple these enemies' HP to even make it survive the slash proc, because 20 million damage can kill these level 10,000 Thrax. If they multiply the HP by 4 or 5 times, maybe the Thrax will be actually able to survive until the slash proc happens. You look at the background footage right now, this is just a normal Torrid build. This is a no Bane mod Torrid build, and we're killing level 10,000 with the Torrid. So it's not like these enemies, if you actually know what you're doing, it's not like the enemies ever are tanky in this game. If you're using the actually good things, you could argue, well, why don't you just use bad stuff on purpose? That's silly to me, because I'm trying to use the things I farm for this whole time. So yeah, I hope that they make this these higher level enemies more tanky. Of course, level 300, whatever, those guys are going to be a cakewalk. So DE might want to reconsider, okay, is normal steel path going to be too easy? Do we want these enemies to actually feel tanky? I guess not. I guess they don't want them to feel tanky with these types of changes. So I think there's some other things that we went over on stream that could be great here too. So for players that want tankier enemies, it might even be a time to remove this level 10,000 enemy cap. I don't know if the spaghetti code of the game can actually do that, but how about making it where enemies can go level 100,000 or even higher, an infinite enemy level. That way, when you call it, you can't even call it an endurance run anymore. It's more like a how much time do you have run? Are you going to keep going until the enemies just give up? Because they're about to just give up because we're so strong nowadays. So I don't know. DE should probably figure something out on that front. But for normal path, I think they are making this definitely more accessible and easier, by a long shot. We're literally going to have normal path heavy gunners on the steel path. Every enemy will be a normal path heavy gunner armor wise. So moving on to the last couple things here, we got shield adjustments. Enemies are going to have a shortened shield regeneration delay when depleted. Enemies have a shorter shield regeneration delay when hit. Enemy shields regenerate faster. So they're going to be, they're trying to tell people to use impact magnetic on the Corpus, but realistically most players use toxin on the Corpus to bypass shields. I'm wondering if they're going to make toxin procs no longer bypass enemy shields, or rather toxin damage bypass enemy shields. They have not said that's going to happen, but the way I'm reading this, it sounds like it might still be a thing. Let's see, Control F toxin maybe. I don't see any reason that there doesn't seem like they're removing toxin procs going through, but yeah. That is interesting that they are buffing the shield regen and not changing toxin procs. So the rest of this stuff, Blast is getting a change. If you looked at my dev stream video, we had the early information on that. It will be a delayed death explosion, apparently. So depending how much blast you hit them with before they die, they will explode with an amount of explosion damage, depending on how much blast you hit them with. Coldbeard did a deep dive on that, Shivering Contagion Frost meta. That's going to be really good. They actually might nerf Shivering Contagion, honestly. That's going to be so crazy good, they might end up nerfing Shivering Contagion. So we'll have to see about that. Gas proc damage is going to be actually not really getting a damage increase, like a quality of light increase. It will be a visibility increase. Extend the range of the gas cloud effects based on the range of the status proc. So it's still going to be a 6 meter limit at 10 stacks. Update the additional FX to affect enemies to communicate stats. It's basically so you can see it easier. It's not going to give you any more damage. They just want to be able to see where that gas cloud is. Additionally, magnetic procs are going to deal more damage to Nully Bubbles. Nullifier Bubbles are going to have more damage against from magnetic. So, and also, of course, they also are going to be good against shields, and we'll see if they end up making toxin procs not go through shields anymore. So as far as the big things here, guys, they are massively dumbing down the damage system. Rather, the enemy resistance system is going from this to this, and it will be per faction. So every Corpus will have the same health type, which I think is a little bit too far on that front, because robots should have different health type than humans. So every Grineer will have the same, besides Kuva Grineer. So Kuva Grineer, Amalgam, Corpus, and Deimos Infested will be different. And of course, they can add different stuff in the future too, if they want to differentiate it some more. Viral Corrosive will still be the meta, obviously. I mean, what else will we use, right? It's like, it removes their armor and it gives them more damage from everything. It's just how the procs work. You're not going to get the same kind of effect from like a gas proc. Oh, that guy's taking so much more damage from everything. It's not going to be really a thing. The meta of the game might change because these enemies are going to have such low armor now that one green corrosive stack shard might be the new meta, replacing things like this. Now, of course, you still could go for this. You could still go for 2 green normal shards for 14 procs for full removal. But it might not be necessary because these guys are going to be so much less there's going to be so much less armor dependent that you're going to be dealing with like only like, you know, like 10% DR or under with some of these really high level enemies, which will have 2700 armor capped. Yeah, the 2700 armor, I don't know. Like they're the devs. They're hopefully running the numbers, but to me that number seems hilariously low. So hope you guys found this video fun, helpful. There's definitely more that can be said here. But I think that they really need to focus on normal steel path. Is this going to make normal steel path too easy? Are you making this for the sake of accessibility, making it where people who like to make good builds and learn how to play the game are feeling they're feeling wronged? It's like, I've learned how to play the game the whole time. Now you're just making it like pretty much marshmallow mode. Like these enemies are going to be marshmallows. The biggest thing really comes down to how much they multiply the enemy HP by. If they are going to like, you know, compensate the enemy's HP with they said they want a similar time to kill. Are they going to make it where the enemy's HP is like, you know, tripled, quadrupled? Is it going to be more raw damage heavy than like status proc heavy? We'll have to see. Again, these changes are in June, so not even anytime soon, like, you know, like over a month from now. So we'll see. We'll probably get another dev workshop before this comes out. They didn't put the numbers in there because they're definitely working on it right now. So hope you guys found this video fun, helpful, you know, a little bit of theory crafting and information here. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll also see you on stream tonight, and I appreciate all the support. You guys take it easy. Peace.